cops came from every direction.
My mom is a total drama queen.
One cop actually put his hand on my car and leapt over my car, said, "Get out of the way, lady."
She loves to tell stories.
They were actually shooting across the road. I was scared to death.
And she embellishes everything.
I think I'm innocent.
She was telling me my sister is dying. So of course I call my sister, I'm panicked about it. My sister's got a cold.
All of my stories are true. They may have a little color here and there, but basically, the basic premise is true.
Holy cow, do not call my mother after 9 o'clock at night.
Hi, honey, what's the matter?
She's immediately flipping because somebody must be dead.
Are you sure everybody's okay?
I'm in the delivery room, I'm giving birth to my daughter. My mom is pushing the doctor out of the way so she can take a picture.
What's the problem? I needed a good shot.
She cuts her fingers, she burns herself on the oven. 9 times out of 10, she comes to the table with her hand in an ice bucket.
I have got a few scars from turkeys. I call them my turkey scars. But, you know, that's what a mother does.
We're all feeling sorry for her because she's hurt herself. Her highs are Mount Everest, and her lows are the Dead Sea. There is no in between.
I'm an emotional person, and I have strong feelings about things.
I am really tired of this. It's really, really stressful. Nobody knows when to take her seriously. She had an allergic reaction, ended up calling for help. She couldn't breathe, and nobody really reacted. She ended up driving herself to the hospital. It's like the boy who cried wolf. You hear it, you hear it, you hear it again, and you don't know when you should really tune in and when you shouldn't. Dr. Phil, I love my mom very much, but she is a huge drama queen. I need your help.
Okay. So what's up with all of this, Mom?
It happens.
What happens?
All the stuff happens.
It What do you mean it happens?
I don't make it up.
Really?
No.
Okay, well, let's just check the facts.
It's all founded in truth.
It's what?
It's sort of founded in truth. I might color it a little.
Well,
Just
wait a minute. You don't sort of tell the truth. You're either telling the truth or you're making it up. Now, I have a list of these things. She said your sister is dying.
She's on her deathbed.
She is on her deathbed. Okay, now, what part of that is true? She was on a bed.
Maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I mean, why would you do that? Why would you call up your daughter and say, your sister is on her deathbed, when in fact she's got a cold?
Well, it's a little more interesting, isn't it, than saying your sister's got a cold. I mean, how boring is that?
Well, I don't know. Well, let's just go through some of these.
Oh, dear.
Claimed you were involved in a shootout on the way to the mall.
This is absolutely true. I wasn't actually involved in it. I was in the middle of it. That is absolutely true.
So you weren't actually shooting. I got that part.
No.
But you said you were involved in a shootout on the way. Bullets were flying by.
They were. That's exactly what happened. I happened to be not listening very carefully, didn't hear the police sirens, got myself trapped with police cars behind me.
So you rolled through a roadblock and just got into a shootout.
And they were actually firing across the bonnet of my car. You don't call it a bonnet, a hood. Is it a hood?
It's a hood.
You're not from Texas, are you?
No. But I love it.
All right, now, okay, you called everyone saying that your husband was on the verge of a heart attack. And that was your word, verge of a heart attack, correct? Is that what she said?
Verge of a heart attack.
When was that, darling?
Well, I would see how you could lose that in the middle of deathbed and shootouts and all of that.
When he had high cholesterol, do you remember?
Oh, when he had high cholesterol, that was the verge of a heart attack?
Do you remember?
No, it wasn't one of the bigger things in my life. Because he didn't actually have one. If he'd had one, it would have been real serious.
There are certain times when you just don't want to answer the phone. There's not a day that goes by that I don't get a phone call from her with the latest, greatest trauma that's going on in her life.
All right, we're talking about people who love living their lives in a total state of drama. Now, Vanessa wants her mother to tone down her hysterical ways. You think this is wearing you out.
It is wearing me out, absolutely. I'm not saying it's not funny at times, and I'm not saying she doesn't bring a lot of excitement to the table, but there's a lot of stress that goes along with that. A lot of stress. Well, the thing with my sister, but that kind of thing happens daily. There is not a day that I call my mother and some event hasn't happened. That's true.
But they're not all sad events. It's
They're
not like
not all
I'm
sad.
milking you for sympathy or...
No,
That's not...
just a
I mean,
reaction.
sometimes, yeah, that's all I want. A laugh occasionally, you know? I think that's pretty healthy, don't you?
Yeah, but see, that's what they call being a comedian. Okay, and you say you just want to laugh occasionally. Your sister is on her deathbed. Your husband is on the verge of a heart attack, and you just escaped a shootout on the way to the mall. Those aren't exactly things that your kids yuck it up about, right?
Probably true.
There are a lot of theories about why people do these sort of things. One of them you hit on real early, and that is that you truly believe that your life is so boring and that you, in fact, are so insignificant that you have to color it up. You have to embellish it in order for it to be okay. Reality is not good, so let's just create some fantasy.
I don't think that's right.
Okay, let's go to another theory. Well, I've got a whole list of them here.
How long have we got?
But I mean, sometimes the people just feel like they're starved for attention. Just like nobody pays any attention to them, so they've got to go over the top and say, like you said, like, who's going to be interested in the fact that your sister's got a cold? But if I put her on her deathbed, I got your attention then, didn't I, Slick?
Yeah.
Yeah, she had you riveted at that point,
yes.
did she not?
Absolutely.
Your husband's on the verge of a heart attack. You got their attention then, don't you?
Well, yes.
So can we leave that theory on the list?
Yeah.
So you want their attention?
I would love it, of course. Isn't that what everybody wants?
Well, yeah, but most of us don't create this whole fantasy world to get it.
The only fantasy was the sister on the deathbed thing. But the other sorts of things that happen are absolutely true. Now, I could sit here and say, well, you wouldn't believe what happened to me when I went to the mall, you know, and who would care?
Certainly not me.
That's right. So if we color it up a bit, it's more enjoyable.
For who?
Well, hopefully for the people that are listening to it, too.
Well, I think she's telling you it's not more enjoyable.
I'm sorry, honey. I am.
Okay. All right, tell you what. I'm not through with y'all.
Uh-oh.
Not that I don't want to be. But I'm not through with y'all. I'm just kidding, sort of. But I'm going to move you guys down to the front row. I'm going to talk to some more drama queens, and we're going to see if through this show you see yourself in anyone else in a way that might cause you to say, you know what, being calm and relaxed might be a viable alternative.
You know, one day I'm telling my girlfriends I want to go get my PhD out in California, and then the next day I'm telling them I want to stay in Philadelphia. As the youngest of 4 children, it kind of molded me into this drama queen that I am because I was always vying for attention. I think my life is a mixture of the fabulous Carrie from Sex and the City, Crazy Ally from Ally McBeal, and then there's Joan from Girlfriends. God, I gotta go shopping. It's not my fault. I spend about 2 hours a day venting to coworkers about my different excursions and soap opera life.
Ever since she was a baby, it was like, wah, forget the whole world, it's all about me.
Sky was my girlfriend. She demanded attention. She was loud, and there was never a dull moment.
My husband even introduced her to someone who we felt was perfect for her, and then some way she just felt like it was boring. You don't have to have drama in a relationship to have a good relationship.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of not being in a relationship. This guy, if you remember, he's from California. Now, this guy, he was from Texas, but then he moved to California.
What's with you in California? You live in Philly. My sister cannot have a relationship with someone in the same state because where would the drama be?
This drama-filled life of mine is preventing me from finding my true soulmate. I'm sick of the drama. Help me, Dr. Phil.
Okay. So now, Vanessa, you turned your mother in, but you turned yourself in, right?
I need help.
You wrote in, and you're saying I want to be rid of this.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I did Oprah shows for almost 5 years, and I've done like 175 or something of my own show. You're the first one that's ever come here that has got this special thing up for their foot. And now, and you're thinking, well, Dr. Phil, people hurt their foot. That can happen.
Yeah.
That ain't what happened here, is it?
No, it was necessary though.
Okay, is it not true that you got foot surgery because you didn't like the way your toes looked in your sandals?
No, that's not true. The doctor said he recommended that I get this procedure done to prevent later damage.
Talk to me, sis.
She is lying through her teeth. She got that. I'm putting it out there. Part of the reason, a large majority of the reason is, like you said, because she wants to look good in sandals. Because she's going to Jamaica, I think, like next month. So it'll be healed, so she can, look fly on the beach.
But it's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with it, though. It's nothing wrong.
There's not? Oh, well, thanks for clearing that up. All right, so what? So you did this so your toes would look better in Jamaica?
Yes, everybody has a certain part of them that they're unhappy with. I'm sure you may have a part of you that you're unhappy with. So, no.
No, go ahead.
So, this is something that I wanted to do that I felt would help me to, get over my not wearing sandals.
Even your description of yourself, that your life is a combination of Carrie from Sex and the City, Ally McBeal, and Joan from Girlfriends. Mm-hmm. Isn't that a little grandiose?
You put all of those people together, it's like, great girl.
And that's you, right?
Yeah, but see, I just want a toned down version. Maybe we can have half of each of those people, and then you can make me.
Yeah, I've made you. All right. Now, have you learned anything from the conversation I had with these two before, and if so, what was it?
Yes, I definitely learned that by creating a lot of attention on small things, they won't believe me with big things when I say big things, like when I actually thought I was having an allergic reaction to something. And I called my sister, and she wouldn't come to the hospital with me either, so.
For your emergency toe surgery?
No, this was for something else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was something else.
Now, are you the youngest in your family?
I'm the youngest of 4.
Do you know that there is an extremely high percentage of drama queens, extremely high percentage of hysterical personalities, that everything's exaggerated, that are the youngest child?
I can imagine.
It's because it's like the news kind of worn off of having kids, and so by the time they come along, they have to run around saying, hey, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me.
That's me. That's so me.
Yeah?
That's been me. I'm the youngest of 4. All of my brothers and sisters are married with kids. I have 8 nieces and nephews, so now I have my nieces and nephews to compete with, and it's like, it's me. Somebody focus on me now.
Okay. On me now.
Me.
Okay. So you agree that what you're doing is you look at your life and say, without all the drama and intrigue, like, for example, weren't you, let's see, 1 week she's moving to Alaska, next week she's getting her PhD in California, And then you totally bail on that, and you're going to Alaska, and then you have all of these relationships with these guys all the way across the country, because then you can, like, pretend they're secret agents or what? I mean, what's wrong with the old boy that lives down the block?
They're boring.
They're boring, and you think your life is boring, don't you?
If I don't have the other people from various places, then it is kind of boring.
Exactly. So what you're doing is you create all of this big fantasy instead of living your real life. What if you just decided to accept who you are instead of deciding to try to be somebody you're not? Wonder what would happen then.
Seems kind of boring.
Seems kind of boring. And I know this advice is not on a level with Ally McBeal,
No.
but
Can I get a theme song? They give Ally theme songs to sing.
yeah, we'll get you a theme song. Okay. Happy Trail. No. Aren't you, my point is, aren't you avoiding your life?
I don't see anything wrong with dating someone, you know, in California when I'm in Philadelphia. If the love is there and if that's someone that I'm compatible with and that I want to be with, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, if. But the truth is, if this is your soulmate, your 6'8", love in his eyes, no hair on his back, you have this list here of all these characteristics of your mate. Nice legs, strong shoulders, athletic, nice smile, looks at me with love in his eyes, appreciation of culture and nature, knows how to romance, cook, doesn't just say hello, talks about anything, actually goes out on dates, has a cape, can leap over tall buildings. I mean, come on.
I didn't ask that, but...
You know, the point is, you're not living your life. What you've done is you've written this script that you want your life to be. And so you play in that fantasy world instead of dealing with the fact that, wouldn't it be odd if you dropped all of the fantasy and discovered that, you know what, you're really interesting, funny, warm, intelligent, engaging, and that you and the real script of your life is just fine? Wouldn't it be tragic if you missed you because you were playing this role?
Like, can't people put the food away?
Kim is a drama queen.
Oh, I can't believe this.
She's yelling and excited, very emotional, or she's happy.
I'm a very passionate person. When I feel something, you know it. I get very upset when expectations are not met. If you tell me you're going to do something, I expect you to do it.
I really feel like Kim blows things out of proportion. The littlest things, like salt being spilled on the table, gets blown up to a huge Picasso-sized portrait when it could have just been a snapshot.
I feel I have to repeat myself often because I'm not always taken seriously.
She'll stomp, she slams doors and throws things.
I tend to yell. I mean, that's like my biggest thing. It becomes like a chain reaction. I've been known to punch a wall just to release the frustration that I feel. So I do slam doors to kind of make a point that I'm mad.
When Kim becomes a drama queen, I can shut her out. I will not listen to her because I feel as though if she's yelling at me and talking down to me.
Can we start working on it now instead of you ignoring me?
I can react just as childish as I feel I'm being treated. It has extracted the intimacy and the communication from the marriage. There's a lack of intimacy because of the lack of communication.
I don't think it's a good example to my children for them to see me as angry as I can get. Dr. Phil, how do I deal with my anger without making it a big drama?
Okay, so your drama is in anger.
Yes.
Okay, is it anywhere else or is it just mostly in anger?
It's in anger. Like when I feel ignored, because like I said, I'm a very passionate person. When I feel something, I want you to at least hear me out. You don't have to agree. Just hear what I have to say. And that's all I'm looking for, is for you to acknowledge me. Not shut me off, try and belittle me, or, no, that's not important right now. What I have to say I feel is important, even though you may not agree. Just hear me. That's all I'm
Okay,
looking for, to be heard.
You said you just want to be heard, but I read through all of your interview notes, all of your background, all of your history, and one of the things you said with just righteous indignation is, when I get upset, I yell really loud and start talking really fast and he gets defensive.
Okay.
Well, duh. What do you expect him to do?
You're right, but sometimes I feel it doesn't have to get to that point. If he would hear me out, then I wouldn't get so mad. Because a lot of times I'll come to him calmly and he'll, give me some, I'll ask him to do something and it's like, oh, I'll get to it in a minute. Okay, well, can we try it? It's something we have to get done. And he'll be on some passive aggressive, where he does it in his time because he thinks I'm trying to control him. And I'm not.
Are you?
No.
Okay, you're not trying to control him. You just want him to talk about things when you want to talk about them, the way you want to talk about them, at the speed you want to discuss them.
Well, for him, no time is ever good to talk. So, of course I have to maybe say, okay, well, can we talk about this?
Well, I think now would be a good time for him to talk. All right, Chris, what do you think about all of this?
I honestly just feel as though if she would approach things right, a lot of the times when she comes and she wants to speak, she might come one time and say, well, I have something that's bothering me, and I'll say, okay, we can talk about it in a second. But, if I say we can talk about it in a second, no, it has to be done now. Can we do this now? And I feel as though, and it goes off, And the thing that really bothers me is everything is important and everything needs to be talked about. If there's, the cheese being left on the table, that had to be talked about for 30 minutes. Why? Why? I don't get it.
Just wish you'd eaten the cheese, don't you?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Just eat the damn cheese. You think this is starting to wear you out, right?
It is. It
okay,
is.
Now, tell me why you would spend, what's your rationale for spending an hour and a half, or I'm sure you would dispute that, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, yelling and screaming about the cheese. Now, Jill says her trigger was she was in the war. Okay, were you attacked by some cheese once and you want it put away safe? And what's the story about the cheese?
No, I think it's just the fact that I have to continually repeat myself because that's not the first time. It wasn't so much the cheese, it's the fact that things get left out and they get ruined, and it seems like he could care less, and that's what bothers me.
In retrospect, does it seem to you that was a disproportionate reaction to the cheese?
Okay, yes, maybe at that particular moment about cheese.
Oh,
but
I
guess
others.
To me, it's like there's an issue that's larger than that. And, since me and him, our communication isn't always great, that's the only way that I seem to be able to vent myself because I feel frustrated sometimes. I feel angry.
Okay, so it's not really about the cheese. It's not really about it's about the fact that you don't feel like you're heard.
Correct. That's exactly what it is.
A minute, when I was talking to Cy a minute ago, I said a lot of drama queens feel like you're not hearing me, so I've got to dial it up so I can be heard. I'm either not interesting enough or not important enough or not acknowledged enough, so I got to dial it up so I can be heard.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with this, yes.
So you think that's the truth?
Yes, I can agree with that.
All right. Do you think that you give her attention and that you do regard her feelings and her thoughts and her presence in the marriage?
I think I could do better, but I give her attention and that I do listen to her when, it's the same thing that we heard earlier. It's like when you're hearing it all the time, when do you know what's important and what's not?
Most choices that people make are made based on immediate results. Everybody says, well, I wonder why people choose to smoke. Well, because the immediate result is pleasurable. Long-term result can be fatal, but the immediate result. So most choices are driven by immediate results. Do you get an immediate payoff for these yelling and screaming jags that you go on? Whether you think they're justified or not, do you get an immediate payoff?
Maybe some kind of release, or it makes me feel heard in some way. I mean, yes and no. I mean, because obviously I'm not heard because he puts up more defenses, but in that immediate moment, I feel like I'm releasing something.
It relieves the tension.
Right.
So it's kind of like they release a pressure valve and you get it all out because you're just like this.
Right.
Do you think that could control you to the point that you create unrealistic expectancies so you've got something to yell about?
See, I don't necessarily think so, but...
Chris is thinking, this guy's not as dumb as he looks.
See, I don't think so, but again, he does. But I don't so much think that I look for things to, yell about. I just want to be heard when I'm speaking. And when...
But see, one of the problems that I see people get into like this, when they use their anger to release the stress and pressure, I often see people do that because they don't feel heard, they don't feel validated, and so they're constantly having to test. I'm going to yell and scream until you pay me attention and reassure me that you love me and care about me and acknowledge me. And so you're giving him a test every single time you do it. And you're rewarded when he passes the test by finally saying, okay, I'm sorry, I love you, I'm here. What's going to happen when you hit the day that he finally fails the test? When he finally says, you know what? You must be right. You finally convinced me I must not care about you.
I'd be quite upset. I mean, that's not, what I'm looking for.
But do you understand that that's the only possible outcome of what you're doing? Because this guy's telling you, this is wearing me out. True?
True.
You're getting really weary of this.
Yes. You have a Bible?
You'd swear to it.
Next, Dr. Phil Classic, drama queens who drive their families nuts.
She was telling me my sister is dying.
Is that true?
I don't make it up.
And
You got foot surgery because you didn't like the way your toes looked.
That's not true.